Hello and welcome to Study with Sudhir once again. This is explanation of the play part 2 of the Midsummer Night's Dream. Okay, so that is something which we will get started. I hope you have seen the first intro and also part 1 explanation of this. Okay, we stopped part 1 when Hermia exited the scene very angry with Demetrius. Okay, now what happens? इसके आगे की कहानी के बारे में समझते हैं. Demetrius बोलता है there is no following her in this fierce vein. Fierce vein मतलब when she's so angry, जब इतने गुस्से में है, अब इसके पीछे पड़ने जाने का फायदा बिल्कुल नहीं है, तो मैं यहीं पर रह जाता हूं. So here therefore for a while I will remain. अगर आप सेंटेंसेस को बार बार पढ़ेंगे, 2-3 बारी पढ़ेंगे तो आपको समझ में आ जाएगा. See, Shakespeare was not writing the modern day English. यहां पे देखिए here therefore for a while I will remain. अगर आज के इंग्लिश में हम लिखे तो हम क्या कहेंगे? I will remain here for some more time or for a while नहीं तो लिखेंगे, right? But here therefore for a while I will remain. So it's just a different construct of the language. So then he says, अब ये आगे का जो 2 लाइन है थोड़ा complicated है. Okay, so he says, so sorrow's heaviness doth heavier grow, for debt that bankrupt sleep doth sorrow owe. Okay, so basically he's saying that sadness, sorrow means sadness. 1 minute, I will mark it. एक मिनट, या sorrow का मतलब होता है sadness. Okay, so he's saying that sadness, debt that bankrupt sleep, cloth, sorrow. यहाँ पे एक जगह पे ऊपर doth लिखा है, नीचे cloth लिखा है. Sorrow, oh, sleeplessness due to sorrow. So basically he's saying that sadness becomes difficult to bear, to control, to kind of tolerate when it is combined with lack of sleep. Bankrupt का मतलब क्या होता है? जब when you do not have something. So in this case here he is referring to lack of sleep. जब नींद नहीं हो और उस पे दुख भी हो, so that is a very difficult kind of a combination to bear. So now he says, so as a result, because I'm asleep, I'm also now very sad because of all this shouting and anger that Hermia has subjected me to. So now I will sleep. So if for his tender here, tender matlab care and attention, here I will make stay. I will sleep here for some time. So he lies down and sleep. See, sleep is an important theme of this play because it's only when people are sleeping can Oberon and Puck conspire to put that magic potion on their eyelids. So Lysander, Demetrius, Titania, all are victims of that. So sleep is an important theme of this particular scene, Act 3, Scene 2 in this particular play. Oberon says, what have you done? You have made a mistake. Thou hast mistaken quiet. You have made a big mistake. Quiet matlab a big mistake you have made. And laid the love juice. तुमने love juice किसी और बंदे की आंखों पे डाल दिया है. समझ में आया? Of thy misprison. Misprison here is a reference to mistake, your error, right? Your error must perforce ensue some true love turned and not a false turned true. So what he's saying is that you have made a big mistake and you have put the love juice on some another person's eyelids who was truly in love, जो कि सचमुच में प्यार में था. Because of your mistake, someone's true love has been turned false. किसी का सच्चा प्यार झूठा हो गया है और किसी के झूठे प्यार को सच्चे बनाने के बजाय किसी का सच्चा प्यार झूठा हो गया है. ओके, ये बॉलीवुड का गाना लग रहा है. ओके, then fate overrules that one man holding troth, a million fail, confounding oath on oath. Confounding means confusing. It means confusing. Okay, so Puck says that is the fate of love. Love का यही हाल होता है. Because for every man, if there is one man who is true to his love, who is faithful to his love, there are many others, millions of others. A million fail. There are millions others who cancel out each oath of love, in the sense that, they are not true to their love, right? Confounding, they confuse oath and oath on oath, so there is always a lot of confusion in the love affairs of many others for every one person who is faithful and true to his love. Okay, so वो अपनी गलती को मानने के बजाय he is kind of गोलमोल बात कर रहा है. Oberon says, now about the wood go swifter than the wind. Now through the forest go faster than the wind. Swifter than the wind means go very fast and as more fast than the wind. And Helena of Athens, look thou find, and look for Helena of Athens. Okay, all fancy sick she is and pale of cheer, right? A minute, let me move this page forward. So he says, and Helena of Athens, look thou find, all fancy sick she is, because she's love sick, because she loves Demetrius, but Demetrius does not reciprocate her love. So he wants to put the magic potion so that he can fall in love with Helena, right? So she's lovesick and her face is pale, her all fancy sick she is and pale of cheer because of all her, sighs of love. She's, वो क्या बोलते हैं, प्यार में हामी भर रही है. Okay, और उसकी वजह से that is bad for her blood, that caused the fresh blood dear. पहले मानते थे if you are in a bad state, if you are sad, it will actually affect the quality of your blood. Okay, so by some illusion, see thou bring her here, I will charm his eyes against she do appear. So उसके आने से पहले, since ये बंदा डिमिट्रियस अभी सो रहा है, इसके मैं पोर्शन लगा देता हूं, तुम हेलेना को लेके आओ ताकि इन दोनों का टाका भिड़ जाए. I will make them fall in love with each other, or him falling in love with Helena and not run after Hermia. So Puck says, I go, look how I go, swifter than arrow from the Tartar's bow. Okay, so go bow, he's trying to rhyme. Okay, almost like poetry. Tartar's bow is the weapon used by the Asian warriors who invaded Europe in the 13th century. आपके glossary में ये लिखा हुआ है. Okay, and he exits the scene. Puck exits the scene from there. Okay, Oberon says, flower of this purple dye, hit with Cupid's archery, squeezes the flower juice on Demetrius' eyelid. So he says, and as he is speaking to himself, he's squeezing the juice on Demetrius' eyelids. Okay, so he says it's a purple flower, he's purple flower, dye, archery. He's almost like very poetic. And he says purple flower which has been hit by Cupid's archery. Who is Cupid? Cupid is the god of love. Okay, and Cupid was always picturized as someone who had an arrow with him. Okay, so whoever he shoots his arrow will end up having falling in love. So he says hit by Cupid's arrow. Arrow ke bajay he has used the word archery out here. Okay, so sink into the pupils of his eyes, right? So that's what the juice should go into the pupils of his eyes. And when he sees the girl he should love, when his love he doth espy. Espy means see. Okay, when he sees this girl who he should fall in love with, let her shine as gloriously, right? She should seem as bright as Venus in the sky, right? In glorious colors. When thou wakest, if she be by, beg of her for remedy. So when you wake up, if she is nearby, beg her to answer your love with love. So he's kind of making almost like a prayer wish as he puts the juice on Demetrius' eyelids. Okay, through the flower. It is through the flower. Okay, the purple flower. Enter Puck. This is important. The purple dye. So it is from a purple flower that the juice is put on Demetrius' eyelids. Puck comes back. Captain of our fairy band, Helena is here at hand. So he announces that leader of fairies, captain of our fairy bands, the leader of fairies, Helena is coming. Also, let me move the page. So he says, and also that youth who was mistaken by me, pleading for a lover's fee. So because Lysander has woken up and seen Helena, so he's now Helena ke piche pada hua hai. Confusion. It seems like some of those old Hindi movies, right? So he says the young man whom I mistook for this one sleeping here, and he's begging her for love. A lover's fee, matlab, jo pyar pura nahi ho raha hai, and he's kind of getting after her. Shall we their fond pageant see? So shall we see their absurd show? Pageant is like silly behavior. Okay. Lord, what fools these mortals be, because these are fairies, they are not like real human beings. So they are making fun of the human beings. Stand aside, the noise they make will cause Demetrius to awake. तो जितना शोर शराबा कर रहे हैं उससे तो ये बंदा जग जाएगा. Then will two at once woo one. तो इससे होगा क्या कि ये दोनों हेलेना के पीछे पड़ जाएंगे. Because Lysander is already in love with Helena, because he has seen her after waking up, after the juice has been applied on his eyelids, and now Demetrius will see her. Again, he will also fall in love with her, which is what they want, right? So, दोनों आदमी एक ही औरत के पीछे पड़ जाएंगे. And those things do best please me that befall preposterously. So he says that watching that will be entertainment. Sport alone means very entertaining and a lot of fun it will be, right? These kind of ridiculous things, preposterous, ये जो word है ना, preposterous out here, इसका मतलब है, this comes from the word preposterous, it means ridiculous. Ridiculous things is what I like most. Okay, so now Lysander and Helena enter the scene. यहां तक समझ में आ गया? It's a lot of detail. Now, एक minute, let me just erase this off. Okay, and move it up. Okay, now next move करते हैं. Lysander बोलता है हेलेना को, why should you think that I should woo you in scorn? So he says, why are you thinking that I am making fun of you? Scorn means something which is, थोड़े घमंडी. Scornful behavior किसको बोलते हैं? थोड़ा घमंडी behavior को, which is slightly rude, उसको scornful behavior कहते हैं, right? Scorn and derision never come in tears. So he says, अगर मैं घमंडी हूं, अगर मैं तुम्हारा मजाक उड़ा रहा हूं, scorn and derision means मजाक, scorn means घमंडी, right? तो अगर इस तरह का बर्ताव कर रहा हूं तो उसके साथ कभी मेरे आंखों में आंसू नहीं आएंगे, right? Look, when I vow, I weep, and vow so born. So he says, when I am crying, I am swearing my love to you. I am telling you that I am in love with you. And when these kind of vows, these kind of promises are made by someone who is crying, that shows that in their nativity all truth appears, that it is truthful. How can these things in me seem scorn to you? How can you believe that I am making fun of you, I am mocking you, or I am not being truthful to you, bearing the badge of faith to prove them true, right? So when my tears are actually like the badge of faith, they are like a badge of honesty. They are proof, they are a certificate that I am speaking the truth, that I am indeed in love with you. How can you not trust me? How can you not trust me when tears are flowing down my cheeks? जब मेरे आंखों में से इतने आंसू आ रहे हैं तो तुमको कैसे लग सकता है कि मैं सच नहीं बोल रहा हूं, राइट? ये मैं बिल्कुल ऑनेस्टली तुमको बता रहा हूं कि मैं तुमसे प्यार करता हूं. So this is what Lysander is saying. He is completely, though he eloped with who? With Hermia. लेकिन यहां पे आके, because of the mistake made by Puck, he has fallen in love with Helena. समझ में आ गया? You do advance your cunning more and more when truth kills truth, O devilish holy fray. Now, Helena, who is in love with Demetrius, even though he doesn't reciprocate her love, she says that you display your cunning behavior more and more, right? Advance means you display. When truth kills truth, okay, O devilish holy fray. So she's saying that when there is a conflict between two truths, one truth is holy, okay, between two truths, it may destroy one or destroy both, right? So it will be a nasty fight when one truth, one true vow actually kills another true vow, okay, because he's making a lot of vows. He's saying that, मैं सच बोल रहा हूं because of my tears, and because scorn and derision never come accompanied by tears and all that. So he says one truth will end up killing another truth, okay, oh devilish holy fray, so she's referring to this entire dispute and duel between two truths. These vows are Hermia's because you belong to Hermia. These are to be made to Hermia, not to me. You cannot tell me that you are in love with me. These words are to be said to Hermia. ये शब्द हर्मिया को बोले जाने हैं, ये शब्द मेरे लिए नहीं है. Will you give her over? क्या तुम उसको दगा देने वाले हो? Give her over means will you cheat her? Will you give up on her? Weigh oath with oath and you will nothing weigh. Okay, so if अगर तुमने हर्मिया को जो प्रॉमिस किया है उसके खिलाफ मेरे साथ जो प्रॉमिस किया है उन दोनों को तुम तोलोगे तो वो दोनों एक दूसरे को कैंसिल आउट कर देंगे और बाद में बचेगा जीरो, कुछ नहीं बचेगा. ओके, दोनों इक्वल हो जाएंगे एंड बोथ एज लाइट एज टेल्स. टेल्स का मतलब है लाइज, अनट्रू स्टोरीज. ओके, स्टोरीज विच आर नॉट ट्रू. ओके, सो दे विल बी एज वेटलेस एज लाइज. अनट्रू स्टोरीज मतलब झूठ. ओके, नाउ अभी आगे क्या बोलता है? लाइसेंडर बोलता है I had no judgment when to her I swore. He says, जब मैं उससे बात कर रहा था, when I was promising her, I had no judgment. मैं सोच नहीं कर रहा था. I was not in my senses. I was not reasonable when I was making all these promises to her. Look at how he's saying, nor none in my mind. Now you give her over. So Helena says, in my opinion, you don't have any reason now when you are breaking all those promises. So Helena is a smart girl and she is very clear in her mind. When you give her over means when you are forsaking her, when you are giving up on her, when you are forsaking her, okay, then also you are not in your senses. ये जो तुम बकवास कर रहे हो, you are not saying things in your senses. Demetrius loves her and he loves not you. So Lysander says, Demetrius loves Hermia. वो तुमसे प्यार नहीं करता है. And तभी Demetrius उठ जाता है. Okay, so he says, oh Helena, goddess, nymph, perfect divine. So all these adjectives he uses for Helena. Otherwise वो बंदा Hermia के पीछे पड़ा था. Okay, to what my love shall I compare thy eyne? Okay, so he says, my love, to what can I compare your eyes? कि मैं तुम्हारी आंखों को किससे compare करूं? Okay, so let me move forward. Crystal is muddy. Crystal is muddy. Oh, how ripe in show thy lips, thy kiss, those kissing cherries, tempting grow. That pure congealed white, high Taurus snow, fanned with the eastern wind, turns to a crow when thou holdest up thy hand. Oh, let me kiss this princess of pure white, this seal of bliss. What is he saying? He's saying crystal is like mud compared to them. Them matlab the eyes. Okay, because he's now praising her eyes. Okay, उसकी आंखों का के बारे में he is praising. Crystal is like mud. Crystal which is like most precious and most beautiful. वो भी हेलेना की आंखों के मुकाबले मिट्टी की तरह है. It is like mud. Oh, how ripe in show thy lips, those kissing cherries. So he says, your lips, तुम्हारे जो होंठ हैं, they look very ripe, tempting cherries just touching each other. Okay, just tempting cherries touching each other. That pure congealed white, okay, like white snow on top of the Taurus mountains. Okay, Taurus is a mountain range which is in Turkey. Okay, and congealed means frozen solid, like white ice. Okay, it is like white ice on top of the mountain in Taurus, fluffed by winds from the east. Okay, पूर्वी दिशा से जब हवा आती है उससे उसकी तरह से it is kind of accompanied with that, turns to a crow. I mean, fluffed by winds from the east, look as black as a crow in comparison to the whiteness of your hand. So जितने सफेद तुम्हारे हाथ हैं उसके मुकाबले जो ये हवा उड़ती है, that looks like a crow. So he's kind of making her sound like an extremely fair and beautiful woman. Okay, beautiful woman, easy what he's saying. Oh, let me kiss this princess of pure white, because white was always associated with beauty in those times, in Elizabethan times, this seal of bliss. Okay, so let me kiss your hand, the seal of bliss. Bliss means happiness. Oh spite, oh hell, I see you all are bent to set against me for your merriment. So वो सोचती है ये दोनों बंदे मिलकर मेरा मजाक उड़ाने के लिए लगे हैं, therefore they are kind of humiliating me. Okay, if you were civil and knew courtesy, you would not do me thus much injury. Can you not hate me as I know you do? But you must join in souls to mock me too. So she's saying that you have joined, you are kind of, come out together in order to mock me, in order to मेरा मजाक उड़ाने के लिए, right? अगर तुम सच्चे आदमी हो, as you pretend to be, you will not treat a noble woman this way. Okay, कि इस तरह से प्रॉमिस करो, इस तरह से vows बनाओ और मेरी ब्यूटी के बारे में प्रशंसा करो. Okay, even when I know that both of you hate me with your hearts, because she knows that Lysander is in love with Hermia and Demetrius also loves Hermia more than her. So she says that I know that, that's the truth. So she's very clear. So Helena comes across as an extremely practical kind of person. When I'm sure you hate me with your hearts, you both are rivals and love Hermia, and now both rivals to mock Helena. तो तुम दोनों हर्मिया के लिए राइवल्स हो और यहाँ पे एक दूसरे को राइवल कर रहे हो कि हेलेना का मजाक ज्यादा कौन उड़ाएगा. A trim exploit, a manly enterprise, right? So she says out here, a fine exploit, right? That, it is like something which you are all competing and doing, and what an impressive kind of a feat, what a manly thing to do. Trim means what an impressive thing to do. What an impressive thing to do. And she's being very sarcastic out here. She's being very sarcastic, and she's saying to conjure tears. Conjure matlab to bring out tears. To bring out tears in a poor. So she's calling herself, even though they have called her, Demetrius has called her various names, compared herself to a mountain, winds, and all that kind of thing. But she's calling herself a poor maid. With your derision, तुम जो मजाक उड़ा रहे हो derision के साथ, none of noble sort would so offend a virgin and extort a poor soul's patience, all to make you sport. So she's saying that no noble person would make fun of an innocent girl like this, or torture someone's patience just because you want to have some fun. Sport matlab fun. Just because तुमको थोड़ा मजा चाहिए. Lysander says, you are unkind, Demetrius, be not so, for you love Hermia. Lysander बेवकूफ आदमी इसको भूल गया है कि उसको वो प्यार करता है Hermia से. So he says, Demetrius say, you love Hermia, this you know, I know, and here with all goodwill, with all my heart in Hermia's love, I yield you my part. कि मैं, I give up. Okay, I give up all my claim to Helena's love. So tum Helena, and yours of Helena to me bequeath. So you give up your claim to Helena, and I give up my claim to Hermia. So ये almost like interchange की तरह कर रहे हैं कि तुम Helena को छोड़ दो मेरे लिए, मैं Hermia को छोड़ देता हूँ तुम्हारे लिए, right? Because I love her and will continue to love her until I die. यानी कि Helena. So never did mockers waste more idle breath. So Helena is very angry. So she says, इससे पहले किसी ने इतना एफर्ट नहीं डाला किसी का मजाक उड़ाने के लिए. So she's thinking that they're all both are coming together to make fun of me. Demetrius बोलता है, तुम अपनी हर्मिया रख लो. Okay, you keep your Hermia, I am not interested. मुझे उसमें कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. Okay, so he says, you keep your Hermia. If ever I loved her, all that love is gone. अगर मैं उससे कभी प्यार करता था, वो प्यार अभी चला गया है. My heart to her, but as guest wise sojourned. It was temporary. It was not, okay, it was temporary. And now to Helen, is it home returned there to remain? और अब मैं वापस आ गया हूं to Helena, and it is like home return. I've come back to her and there to remain, and there I will remain loyal to her. Helena, it is not so. So he says it's not true. Disparage not the faith that dost not know, lest to thy peril thou be it dear. So he says, don't insult. Disparage matlab don't insult the faith, यानी true love, जिसके बारे में तुम नहीं जानते हो. Okay, जिसके बारे में तुम नहीं जानते हो. So don't try to make fun of something like that. Do not make fun of something that you do not know about. Okay, so he's saying it very clearly to him. Lest to thy peril thou be it dear. Okay, so he's saying, or else you will actually pay a heavy price. You know, you will pay a heavy penalty if you okay, so he says, look where thy love comes, yonder is thy dear, because tabhi Hermia has actually come to the scene. So he says that, look, Hermia has now entered the scene. So see, your love is coming. That's the person who you are in love with. So now we will stop part 2 out here. I hope yahan tak ka aapko samajh mein aa gaya hoga. Okay, as I keep saying, complicated है because characters अलग अलग हैं और हमने इसके पहले का प्ले प्रॉपर प्ले नहीं पढ़ा है, उसके सिर्फ समरी समझी है, राइट? सो अभी यहां पर हर्मिया आती है और उसके बाद का क्या वाद विवाद होता है उसके बारे में आई विल रीड एंड एक्सप्लेन इन पार्ट 3. ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर वॉचिंग.